we're back at the car. Got the sawzall, so I'm gonna try to get that lower control arm portion off and basically everything else. Hopefully we can get the new stuff on, have not that much trouble with fitment. Let's get to it. We only have so much daylight remaining. It's actually getting dark pretty quick, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to chop the top and bottom portion of that control arm and the bushing. Yeah, hopefully it slides right out when we're done. So that was fun. Nice little garbage. So that was pretty annoying, but I only went through 2 blades. Big shout out to those Diablo blades, those carbide blades. That Diablo blade did most of the work. So big shout out to those. Good thing someone at work hooked it up. Shout out Scooby. In order to make room for getting that out, I ended up taking off the strut and the rest of the lower control. Guess I'm gonna go ahead and try to fit up the new stuff. It's gonna be pretty interesting since everything's smacked, but we should be able to get it pretty close. Stay tuned, I'm running out of daylight. So new strut going in. So this apron got crunched, but it honestly doesn't even look like the strut placement was moved, so we might be all right there. It's probably gonna be dark to see, but here's the collar that basically gets stuck in there. So that goes through the bottom like so, and that's what gets seized. So got the new one ready to go on. Quick little update. So got the new suspension all mounted on. Got the upper control arm, lower control arm, spindle, and the new strut. Got the brake caliper hanging up there. So I was gonna put the inner and outer tie rod on as well, but I totally forgot it. I didn't know, I thought it was ready in my car, but apparently it wasn't. So yeah, I'm glad I got this far. Getting that lower control arm off was a pain in the booty cheek. I'm still skeptical about this subframe. It looks like one of the mounts is actually bent down here. This one right here. So that's just a mount. There's 2 bolts that kind of keeps it on there. I could replace that, but I'm gonna probably just go ahead and not do that right now. I'm gonna basically get the inner outer tie rod on, put the caliper on, take off all these broken lines and put on the good lines, put on the ABS sensor, and yeah, drop this thing on the ground. It's getting a little late today. As you can tell, it's not late, it's basically dark out, pitch black. Been doing this in the dark most of the day, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for tonight, clean up all my tools, and come back tomorrow. Hunter. Spooky boy. He's gonna jump. Look, he wants to jump. Down, boy. Stay. So it's the next day. It just pulled up. Hunter's spying on me. We're back at it. It rained a little bit. Hopefully not too big of a puddle back there. I'm gonna continue with the inner outer tie rod and get this thing on the ground. Let's get to it. So I'm gonna take the inner tie rod, the old one, count the threads, and then roughly get it same kind of distance so that the alignment will be somewhat on when I drive it. Next up is the brake caliper. I'm gonna go ahead and untangle it from this mess. So got the suspension on, wheels turned a little bit to the left, matches the driver's side. So yeah, it's always fun working this gravel lot. It's super uneven. That jack I'm using is trash, but I'm happy to have gotten everything on. Everything looks fairly straight. I'm happy that it went on smoother than I thought it would. Minor hiccups as normal. So I'm gonna try to start the car actually and just drive it around the lot, make sure that it rolls and nothing is like immediately wrong with the steering. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and yeah, I'll wrap it up here for tonight. This thing looks super dirty and nasty. So I'm planning to pick up the hood on Saturday, as well as the remaining components. I have a few minor bits and pieces to order, and I have headlights coming in. So I got everything ready to drop this thing off at the frame shop and keep it going. So there's some good and bad. Car starts, runs, moves, clutch works, everything sounds pretty sweet, but that kind of coupling that holds on the steering rack, I know one of them snapped, like it broke on the passenger side obviously. So when I'm turning, it tends to kind of like, when you're going through a turn, it kind of like yanks a little bit. It just feels kind of weird. So I'll probably need to change that coupling. I'm probably gonna put the camera underneath while I'm turning it to kind of see if it's jumping, whatever. So that means if I just need to clamp it down, that should fix it, but we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and just move it, do a little turnaround, and come right back. No better time than now, right? So we got the headlight working. That's sweet. Got both wheels basically straight right now. That's good. But you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. As you can see, that thing is snapperonied. So that definitely, is where it keeps it aligned. And I'm assuming it's just jumping up and down and doing its own thing. I'm gonna try to set up the camera in a way where I could turn it in the car. It's pretty low, but I'll try to see if I can make it work. So hopefully that showed enough. Yeah, I can already see it jumping on and off it, so maybe that'll fix it if I can just get that new coupling to hold it. I actually had one over here, but it's also smashed, so that's not gonna help me. I need this this piece right there. So that thing is done. This one is broken in a few spots, but mainly right there it's snapped. So maybe I'll be able to scrap one off another one that someone doesn't need, so I could save that rack. So we'll see. That's about gonna wrap up this. I'm gonna go ahead and back it up and park it, and yeah, progress. So that's gonna wrap up today's episode. As you saw, we got the car on the ground on all fours, drove around a little bit. There's still some icky issues going on. I'm pretty sure it's with that steering rack. It makes sense because that one coupling is broken off. I'm gonna try to see if it's just that. If that's the only thing, I'm gonna probably find a used part or a spare that someone might have and then throw that thing on. So hopefully you can just like keep it in place and aligned when the car is turning left and right. I'm gonna go ahead and try to schedule a time to drop off the car and all the parts at the frame shop. Hopefully we can get it going before it gets too cold. I wanna get this thing at the frame shop and then to paint before the first snowfall, just so I can get this thing wrapped up. Still contemplating on, you know, the history on this car. The previous owner said he drove it and then he put it into a ditch. A lot of stuff is pretty dirty with this car. The wheels look like they haven't been washed in years, so I'm just kind of like, who doesn't really care about an S2000 like this? So I'm kind of suspect about that, unless he literally just put on stock AP1 wheels before he sold it to me. But there's just a few things that make it look like it's been sitting for a while, or it was kind of a car that was purchased and wasn't fixed and then basically just flipped over to me. I still gotta look into the history. Hopefully the miles are all actual and everything lines up. I really want to kind of keep going with this car, but you know, I gotta really be careful with my time now since we only have a few months left before the winter comes. Maybe I'll focus more on the 911 if this thing doesn't hold to be true. I'm still figuring out if I don't go ahead and fix it, if I want to part it out or if I just want to throw it on the auction. But we'll see. Be sure to check out the other videos, guys. Subscribe, comment, leave a like if you haven't already. Check out the older S2000 videos, Porsche videos. I got other stuff coming your way. Be sure to stay tuned. As always, guys, be blessed and be superish.